We are recording.
Welcome to another episode of Conscious Reconstruction. I'm the host with the most, aka Tony Melbourne, aka Mr. Mirror of the Wall. Wow, Mr. Mirror on the wall, not of the mall. I mean,
both.
Oh, never mind. I was about to say, I mean, I can be both, but I don't want to be of the wall. Like,
see what happens when you start messing things out of order? You get out of order. This is a sign from the universe that's letting you know.
Ash is here, and she has a great topic for us today that we'll be starting with.
Oh my God, I drew
it is the book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck.
We were supposed to talk about it last week. That's why we're talking about it now.
But what do we got planned for later? That's so not fair.
Oops. Surprise.
Watch this nigga cut it off at like 1:45. All right, this is Conscious. So
if you don't know, excuse me. The book is basically about
finding your center,
finding perspective on just interacting with life.
Yes.
And why do you hate me?
I don't hate you.
Different
I do.
People's expectations on you.
I'm going to single-handedly provide you probably all the entertainment that you need throughout your entirety of your 30s. You sitting over here just rubbing your hands together when Charles gets married.
I can't wait. Because I know, listen, you're going to be at least 70 to 80% great husband. We didn't already establish that.
20%.
That 20% about to be juicy. I can't wait. She's not going to complain about shit else. I just got to get a little bit of Moscato in her.
It's
That's
like
it.
These random idiosyncrasies you got, Charles.
Yeah, let's get this out the way. Charles is a great guy. He's going to make a great husband. He's going to be a cool dad. But as soon as I get that Moscato in her, it's going to come out. But anyway, so who made this book? Mark fucking Manson.
That was a very interesting occurrence.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, she kicked the mic and then hit herself in the face with it. Oh, you want to speak it to the front of it, not the top. There we go. Thank you.
Oh, I got so much problems with mics. Anyway, I came across this book because it kept coming in my news feed, and I'm like, fuck that bullshit. I kept ignoring it. Tony was like, I'm starting to read that book. So I was like, I think this is a sign. I still have not read the book, guys, but I delved into it a little bit only because he started talking about getting into your values. Because I think like a couple months ago, it was that question of defining like what really makes you grown up, really makes you mature. And he did an interview with Jordan Peterson, and it was like, well, finding what you really do care about. What is it? And not compromising on those things. You can't, it was like a weird in-between world thing with me where I felt like it was like being a girl, not a girl, but you just wasn't on the other side of the spectrum of being a grown-ass woman. For real. So when I watched that interview, they was talking about, well, your book is actually a good indicator. If you're picking that up, you might make the decision to for real decide to like really grow up.
You know, I feel like almost every adult in the entire world is playing 3-card Monte, but it's like the New York 3-card Monte, so we're all basically cheating, trying to scam everyone, thinking that everyone is an adult. Because it doesn't feel like most people are, or else we probably wouldn't have a lot of the problems that we have right now.
Yeah, the book I read called Radical Honesty is saying that actually, he's saying like a lot of us are still living this adolescent life just because you simply don't want to tell the truth. It's not just, you're 30-something and it's like, no, this is a pandemic, basically.
No, I'm saying it's 100% like from bottom to top. Mm-hmm. I feel like there are like people who are 65 some odd years old who are just kind of like, I'm just out here putting it together like the best I can.
That's kind of
Social Security, dude.
No, I'm not talking about like winging it. Everybody's winging it. Don't nobody want to admit that they're winging it. I'm talking about how you deal with your day-to-day life and how you attack your goals and things like that.
That was the most hilarious thing I actually had. Random epiphany I had today.
Tell us about it.
Oh, no. What was I doing? I was cooking and it said, man, it's just like, I don't know. I don't want to control everything. Well, that's a lie. I definitely want to control most things. I don't know why I just lied to myself.
Like I said, I need everything to be regimented.
It's like, I don't know why I lied to myself like that. It's just like, I don't need to control. I don't want to control everything. No, yes, I do. it's a real interesting time. Like, doing menial tasks is when I actually think about stuff.
Mm-hmm.
The best time to actually think and do things is washing the dishes or like cooking or any like kind of monotonous task that keeps my hands busy.
Yeah, I'm talking more so like me and my father got into an argument yesterday because he walked past me, looked in the backyard and was like, you need to, he didn't say you, he was like, wow, you see all that trash back there, you think somebody would pick it up. So he go outside for 5 seconds, come back in, like my Riley and her little friend outside playing. Then he proceeds to say, these lazy ass adults in here won't pick up the trash that's in the yard. And he walked past me. I'm like, how about not insulting people when you want them to do something for you? He was like, what? And I'm like, don't insult me. What do you mean? He really didn't know that he was like, well, he was like, well, it should be common sense that you guys should be out there picking up. I'm like, no, it's not. What I meant to say was, that's how you feel about a thing. But of course, he's like yelling in my face about it. And he really it didn't catch on to him. He'd been doing it for so long. He does not know when he's insulting people. And I had to catch him like, why would somebody want to do what you want them to do and help you with your household if you're insulting people? That is what I'm talking about.
Like, if you want something done, you can always go do it yourself 9 times out of 10.
Yeah, in his mind, he doesn't want to because, he's the man of the house. And because he fixed that one thing that one time, he doesn't have to do it. Which is,
I'll pay for everything around here. All right.
Anyway, so
whole different conversation.
I don't know.
Whole different conversation.
Black Parent
I would say that I guess what Ash is speaking to is more where you see the people who have that. I guess since I'm the one that has actually read the book, I'll draw from it probably the most during this conversation, where you ever had a girlfriend that wants you to, we talked about this last episode.
Yes.
Where a girlfriend wants you to be friends with her friends. Regardless. But then she wants you to be friends with one of her friends, and then she's now mad that you're friends with one of her friends. And she says that you need to not be so friendly.
I'm confused, and why did you ask me to do these things? You want me to be charming, I'm going to be charming.
But what that person is doing is
metering my friendships.
No, not even that. They're transposing how they feel and a situation and putting that responsibility on somebody else. It's now your responsibility to control the situation and make sure she feels good.
Yeah, that's pretty much just dealing with people's insecurities. But
right.
But people have to, but that's what this whole book is about, is you need to recognize that one, if you're allowing people to do that to you, you're going to be unhappy.
This is true.
And if you're the person doing it, you're probably an unhappy person already.
You wouldn't be doing it if you weren't unhappy, because you have like all types of insecurities and you're worried about your friend.
And you haven't took responsibility, even if, like I think he said in the book, it's a difference when we get to that chapter. So I don't remember.
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, if they split off, I mean, you just got rid of a crappy friend and a crappy girlfriend. So that's like
that's true. But in the term of my parent, I can't really I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about
what if they don't split off? What if you acquiesce to what they want?
Yeah. Like I've been doing that for years, and it just hit them just a second ago. Like, what do you mean? I can't tell you a lousy
your behavior because your girlfriend said, hey, I don't want you to be this friendly with these people?
It depends upon how reasonable they're actually being. If it's actually reasonable, I always have to self-reflect and figure out, like, well, am I actually coming out of pocket in this? For me, probably not. So it's one of those things where it's just like, you got some insecurities here that we need to talk about. So we're going to address the underlying issue instead of putting plaster over it, because at some point I'm going to be around some women that you're not going to like. I have to work. I got to do stuff. So there's always probably going to be some woman that, if you feel the way you feel right now, there's always going to be some woman that I'm more friendly with than you would like me to be.
Or a friend that's mad because they feel like you're friends with their enemy. It's all the same.
Nobody has any.
I don't think they might have that on you, but what I'm saying is, I guess the people that she's talking about are the people that operate in that vein, where the ones that either
They got a lot of enemies.
Not got a lot of enemies. Either they put their emotional well-being off onto somebody else. Basically, like if you were upset because I talked to Jazz and we were friendly, and me and you, like, you were mad at me, like, you need to speak to her less because that makes me uncomfortable.
I would just say I need to get over myself, but I'm a weirdo.
But most people don't operate like that. So.
I understand that, but I definitely understand that because most people won't self-reflect is just like, why am I being so possessive over somebody that I'm not dating or doing anything with? So it's like, I don't know. But most people don't operate in that wavelength. I guess I don't know. I haven't given a fuck for a while. So.
Well, you talk about that too, or it's impossible to really not giving a fuck because now you're caring about not
giving a
caring.
fuck. Oh, no. Yeah. I'm not saying.
I'm just throwing that in there. I'm not saying you're doing this.
I understand that, but it's like, at some point, I gave a fuck to say, you know what? I probably shouldn't care about this as much as I care about it. I guess that's more of the thing. Like, don't give things way more weight than they need to have to, like, throw you off your game.
Yeah, and just watching that particular part. And I'm not saying my mom is not out of this equation, but that was just, it put it front and center.
That was the most recent example that you had.
Just like, damn, you know what I'm saying? They don't know how to be better or different. Not to say he ain't made no growth, but he really just didn't understand that just insults just hurl out of his mouth for so many years. And I'm like, don't talk to me like that. That's not okay. And there's no it was no accountability there. Like, well, maybe y'all could do it. This is my house too. There was just nothing, and it just put it front and center.
Whose trash was it?
It was just like, when kids just be playing in the backyard, like balls and stuff like that. It wasn't nothing like,
it's not really trash. It's actually just toys.
Yeah, just like, this is demanding to be looked at.
But it was just something out there. But the kids are out there
playing.
Y'all can logic this.
You're right. You know what? Me and Charles are definitely doing the logic gymnastics trying to understand, and that doesn't make sense.
Like, as soon as you said it, I was thinking like there was actual like rubbish out there. I'm thinking.
See,
like,
I didn't think about rubbish.
Bags,
no, you thinking it's like you thinking it's this big. So if I say trash, I'm like, it's pretty bad back here for somebody to call you that, right?
Yeah, or it's just like, it's probably not. I mean, people say everyone believes everyone else is lazy because they perceive. I think a lot of people just perceive what they're doing inherently to probably have a lot more value than what everybody else does.
Exactly. So that's just been my dad's constant shtick since I've been alive. But it just made me realize that it's a problem. It's not just like, you're 30 years old and you still think immaturely. Like, niggas in their 60s and 70s still don't know they didn't want to learn. I can't blame the boomers because most of the time they didn't really have, I ain't gonna say not access, but it wasn't front and center like how it was today, to the point where like today is just corny. But now it's like they didn't have it as much as we did. And I don't know if they just don't want to learn. Like, I told my mother during the pandemic, she had trouble sleeping. She always had trouble sleeping. But she was like, no, I'm just really stressed out because of the pandemic and this Trump stuff. Like, why don't you go to a counselor? Crickets.
I'm black. I don't go to no counselor.
But my brother said that. Yeah, no, my brother said that because something happened to him in his childhood. And I'm like, why don't you just go to counseling? Like, no one can do this. It might be better for you to go to a professional. I'll take you up there if you want, and you don't have to talk to me afterwards.
I have a referral. If you need one.
It just was like they just don't see the intrinsic value in any of that, or just it's really hard to look inward. Don't get me wrong, like losing who you are is extremely hard. To even get to the point to read a book like Hannah is pretty monumental because now you recognize I got a problem and I gotta fix it. them niggas don't even know that they have a problem to begin with. It's just how he talks. Like,
can't see the forest from the trees.
Yeah, that's why I don't give too much.
You can't really see these things.
And that's why I don't give too much into emotional IQ, because you can know about how to deal with emotions. Like, that might work in a work setting, but emotional maturity is far more rare than it is to be emotionally intelligent. But that's not, he ain't got nothing to do with emotions. I was just thinking about what you were saying. Yeah, about what it means to be an adult. And I think he kind of gets to the
he kind of song and all.
Gets to the point a little bit, but anyway. Let me figure out what chapter. So the first chapter we can go over is "Don't Try." Something from the book.
Don't try.
Yeah, the idea that the more you pursue feeling better all the time, the less satisfied you become, as pursuing something only reinforces the fact that you lack it in the first place. The more desperately you want to be rich, the more poor and unworthy you feel, regardless of how much money you actually make. The more you desperately want to be sexy and desired, the uglier you come to see yourself, regardless of your actual physical appearance. The more you desperately want to be happy and loved, the lonelier and more afraid you become, regardless of those who surround you. The more you want to be spiritually enlightened, the more self-centered and shallow you become in trying to get there.
Charles seems so stumped.
No, it's trying to articulate something. Like, because I understand what he's saying, but the best way of encapsulating it and breaking it down to its simplest form, or distilling it, I guess is the way of saying it. Because the way it pretty much seems is just like the more...
Don't pursue things for...
the sake of them.
For them alone. Like, the pursuit of money is only always going to keep you with, like, the pursuit of money. So, like, don't have
can see it
a value system that is, like, based on, like, attention. Because when you don't get it, when you post a picture and it doesn't get enough likes, you're going to delete that picture and be like, all right, well, I'm going to try again. Maybe at a better time, or this one just wasn't it. And so that's why they got rid of the likes.
Yeah. I mean, it's wild just because of like social, like if you're looking at like, I don't know, social influencers or whatever, it's just like, all right, well, like, damn, this picture only got 15,000 likes, but like when you were probably maybe even 2 or 3 years ago, you would have killed for 15,000 likes. It's like, you're never just happy. Like, I'm not saying just always be happy with whatever results that you're getting, but you always feel like you should have gotten more or you should get more. You can see it with this type of rise and grind culture that we had for a point in time. It's just like, I wake up and I go to work at 6 a.m. and I get off work and I go to my second job. And then I go home and I go to sleep and look at all this money. I don't take no days
side hustle
off.
right before I go to sleep. Bitch.
It's just like, I'm sitting up here doing this eBay scamming and credit card fraud before I go to sleep. I need all this money. And it's just like, bro, what do you spend it? Don't worry about that.
No, I mean, it's not shit. You're not happy. I mean, shit, you realistically...
I'm grinding, but
you're not happy.
How do y'all think that ties in from, like, having ambition? Because now I don't think I like the word.
Ambitious is all.
What's the difference? I guess, because I thought about that the other day. What's the difference between having ambition and what he was trying to say?
Because ambition does not have anything to do with financial success.
Well, I guess neither that's what he's saying, because your pursuit could be, I want to have a big house, or not even a big house. I want to have, if you said, what do you want as a good life? You like nice house, decent car.
Yeah. Normal house picket fence. And I strive to get that.
That's so abstract that it don't really mean anything. That what you're really obtaining is some like chase of just happiness. It's not anything that you've really like assigned a value to, that, all right, this is one of my non-starters or something that's core to me. And so I think that's the difference between ambition, or at least what I got from it when I read the book is like, I've made various amounts of money at different points in my life. And that has never kind of been what has driven me. Even when I thought that it was going to be like the most beneficial thing, I started to recognize that being in that situation was detrimental to all the things that were actually like important to me and all the things that I really had ambition on.
Mm-hmm.
And so once it started to encroach upon, I guess, my own non-starters, I had to leave. So I think ambition, once you have a value system, can be aligned where it's like, I like to create for creation's sake. I am going to make these poems, and if I get this shitty deal with this guy, and he's the only one that's going to let me put out these poems, and I've been either that or I'm going to just keep putting out poems by myself regardless. So sure, I'm going to do this and see where it goes, but I'm not going to stop doing it where I could stop this, go get a job and have a atypical life. But that is against what my actual, like, that's not ambition. Because sure, I could climb the ladder, reach this big bag of money, but that would be me discarding all my values of me being a writer and this is what I want to do, independent of what else is surrounding it. So I think it has to be that independent of anything else.
Huh. I mean, makes sense. It's just hard for me to articulate. I understand what he is saying. The act of actual, it's like always chasing, trying to get a faster sprinting time. It's like at no point are you doing this because you just enjoy the act in and of itself. You're doing it because you're doing it for something that you may never really even achieve. You might not ever get any faster. You might just top out in your, and then what?
Or shit, I could give you an example. For me, like the whole Twitch thing. I don't give a fuck about doing that. I produce a show on Twitch. I have ideas like that. But me actually sitting down and streaming and doing that, unless it was like some offshoot where it was like a live version of this on Twitch where we do that as well.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in that. It was something that I was pursuing because it looked interesting and
you tried it, didn't like it.
Not even that. It's I had a specific, like, it got to look like this and be doing these things. And so since it, even in the initial thing, since my idea was not that I want to do this because I enjoy doing this, but I want to do this because I want it to look like that. I didn't ever really like enjoy doing it or enjoy the process of like making it happen. It was pretty trash. Yeah. So it wasn't necessarily about money. Sometimes it can be just about like the perception of things where it's like, all right, I like the way this looks. And then in reality, it's like, honestly don't want to do that.
I think that was the more upsetting thing that I ever told you is just like, all right, like, yeah, we can set up this camera, but you would never be able to unplug it. Why? Because you have to reset it up every time. Well, that's dumb.
And it wasn't even that. It was just like the whole process. It's just, I'm not enamored with doing it at all. My whole thing was I would want it to be where it's already 1,500 to 5,000 people every show. And yeah, and so that's since it's not going exactly, and it's not even about how it starts. It's about what I was doing it for. I was doing it for that. I want it to be this. Not that I want to stream because I enjoy streaming. Like I do podcasting because I enjoy doing this. Yes. I write because I enjoy writing. I recognize the things that I have the idea of, and I'm trying to be more discerning with that. Where it's like, because even me, I'll get caught up where, hey, I like the way that looks. Instead of necessarily, I like that for me.
So, yeah, I guess it's the difference between you guys giving away ideas that you have as opposed to not trying to execute on every single idea.
I mean, it could be
that for a while, but you still do that. It's just like, you want to do this? Why? I want nothing to do with this, honestly. It's just an idea that I have.
And so, yeah. Or it's like actually being honest, like the clothing line gym that I plan to launch. That's something that I've had in mind for at least 5 or 6 years, but I've just kind of put it off because all these other things kind of have enamored with the look of them more. Not that I actually like enjoy doing them or would want to be involved in that more than this other thing. It's just the way that they look caught my attention. And so I think that's more is what he's speaking to, is doing things for the look of them and not necessarily for their core value. If you're going to be a streamer because that's what you want to do, like how you program because you like programming.
Yeah.
But you're not going to go out and try and be an influencer because because you like the lifestyle that looks like, I can go fly and I'm going to go be able to do this and make these videos and talk to all these people.
Pictures of myself. I hate doing all that other stuff.
Exactly.
It will literally be the world's biggest law. Like, I would rather stream than do that. It's like, but we're paying you to travel. I don't like all that much. I like home. Home is cool. That's where my bed is.
Yeah, but so it's like if you decided, F all that, I'm going to go out for this just because I've decided that the way this looks is better to me.
It's like
you're not being true to yourself then no more. You're now chasing something solely because you want the end result of it and not because you're interested in it as itself.
Yeah, like, you're not really focused on the journey.
Your pursuit of it isn't pure.
I think that's what the difference for the ambition though is too, is if you're ambitious about the things that you're into for the core of them, then I think then you can be as wildly ambitious as you want. I think it's when you get to be ambitious about
results,
the things and the results that have nothing to do with what you're actually doing.
It's like you got to walk the whole path in order to get there. But if you don't like to walk in the path part, you're probably never going to get there. Like, I hate walking on this sidewalk so fucking much.
I had thought about what ambition meant to me. Let's turn my finger green. I thought about what ambition meant to me. And did I want another person to be, as like a relationship, to be ambitious? And I'm like, do I really give a fuck? Because now the word ambition means nothing to me. Every nigga I know is ambitious. You know, every nigga I've been with had ambitious goals where where they wanted to be something. I'm like, well, your life didn't really reflect that. So what was the point of all your ambition?
I think that is a very fair point. I think that to that point, because society has kind of turned ambition into like this slogan and this motto, like everybody's, I'm ambitious, I'm a hustler. I like, and it's realistically, all right, cool. But I think what you're speaking to is more of like, where's your execution?
Yeah.
Like, all right, it's cool to say that you're ambitious, but where does that ambition marry reality and get into execution? Because that's where execution happens. And if you don't have that, it's a lot of just it's like you said, it's worthless. It's like whether you have ambition or not, it don't really change nothing if you don't have the execution there. So
is it weird that I just automatically fold like execution into ambition because I think it walks hand in hand?
It doesn't.
It don't, because that's for me an ambition. Yeah, most people have lofty ideas, big goals.
Like, I count lofty ideals as just lofty ideals. Like these ashy fake deep dudes are like real off.
Or like my father wanted to own a restaurant for the longest time, but like, let's be real, he's not.
You like the idea of a restaurant.
Yeah, he's not the best.
The ambition is only the desire. It's like you have the desire to pursue something.
But like, if you had a desire to pursue, that means I feel like you have the desire to execute.
No, like you might just be caught up in the fantasy.
If the fantasy and your desire to pursue something is, I want to be the dude that's already behind the counter and serving people and calling the shots and come in and I got employees and things like that, you're not thinking about the execution of, all right, I need to start scouting locations, figuring out, all right, what is my menu going to be? If I'm not a chef, who's going to be the chef of this? You're not thinking about any of the actual building of a restaurant. You're thinking about that end goal. So no, it's not, you're ambitious, but there's no execution in that because you can't execute to right here.
Yeah, your imagination can trick you into thinking that you're doing something, especially like I have a pretty powerful imagination. And for years, I probably stumped my ass for so long where it was like, it's in your head, but don't you believe in yourself enough to actually apply what you're thinking about? And half the stuff, I looked at my YouTube thing the other day and I had shit from I had playlists and stuff from 2017. It was like, yeah, how to start your own farm. What? That literally, I had 3 videos on how to start your own farm in this fucking playlist.
You were probably just
and I'm
trying to
like,
pass them off
what
to
was
Joe.
I thinking about? But you see how that's an ambitious goal. I really, in my head, was like, I should start a farm. Bitch, where? I take pretty good care of my plants. I'm really proud of the fact that I take care of my plants.
Depending upon where you live,
on,
there's
like,
probably 4 really cheap houses around you that you could tear down and turn into some plots
But it
of land.
wasn't like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it
Chilling
wasn't going to work.
bitches up.
It had
Plant
to take
some
me to
corn.
this point to go back and look back at 2017, Ashley, because that was an ambitious goal. But I don't want to fucking dig up dirt and be responsible for feeding people. That's not who I am. That sounds great. It sounds like the most ethical thing to do, and we're helping the people. That sounds so cool. But realistically,
No. For me, unlike Ash, where she has like, I guess not even lofty goals, because I feel like Ash has other lofty goals.
Mhm.
Where I would say this isn't necessarily well, it is a lofty goal to start a farm and everything like that.
fucking
But I think so is like writing a script and like getting that fully realized.
yeah.
So I don't think it's that it's a lofty goal that is the issue. I think it's more that it's not like what
This
you
ain't in my
inherently care
wheelhouse
about.
at all.
It's not even that it's where I don't think you
Oh,
care
I
about
say
it
in your
in that way.
wheelhouse.
I don't
Yeah.
think that is not even in her well. Even if she knew and had the skills to do such, I don't think Ash cares
Enough
that
of
much that's her calling. Where she's like, I want to be out in the dirt
farm.
and I
Oh,
want to be
Nick,
outside at 6 o'clock in the morning, tending to my land and my soil.
See,
Like she don't want that. That's so
I love my plants, but you know what I gotta do? Put plant food in a canister and water them bitches once a week. And I got a fiddle leaf plant that need watering like every other day. That's the capability I'm about to go for. But that's not
I mean,
like,
once you get into midsummer, everything's cool. All you got to do is weed.
you see, like that's what I actually really do. But that's not my like, oh nigga, I really just want the people to have a fucking farm.
see.
I also don't think you can feed the hood with just like vegetables. They will be very upset with you.
Niggas is so GMO addicted, nigga. Where the fuck is
For
my
me,
Even
country
GMO
son?
addicted. It's just like you can I mean, most things are genetically modified. If you eat a banana,
Yeah,
that's
that's
genetically
true.
modified.
Yeah.
Lemons don't actually exist. It's
What?
Like, lemon is a cross between 2 different other things. They were man-made. Technically, it's genetically modified.
So it's broccoli
Yeah, there's lots of things that
and cauliflower.
there are lots of things that don't like the term genetically modified. Like,
It's real loose.
there's a bunch of
yeah.
weed that's genetically modified, technically, because if
Yeah.
you hybridize anything, it's considered to be genetically modified.
I would say that unlike Ash, like I was saying with her giant ideas, I have some pretty other lofty ideas,
Mm-hmm.
but I recognize, or that I'm starting to recognize, that it's not necessarily that they aren't to my core. It's just some of them have an order of operation that needs to happen, and I can't keep trying to put that order in front of other things, because it's like you can't happen until these other things realize.
Oh, okay.
So
Yep.
I know that you're core to me and you're very important, but you have to wait until I realize
I need
this,
other
so that
assets.
way I can
Move.
move into a space where working on you is actually a tangible thing and not just me being like niggas with ambition and like no execution. Because
Yeah.
It was like planning
That's
your
waste.
mixtape party before you even made the mixtape.
who you telling, man? Who you telling?
I mean, that's a thing that people do. It's like they plan the opening of their business and they know what the opening of their business is going to be like, and they haven't even start renovating.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like you have to be okay with the path that you have to tread, and you have to be okay with all parts of the path that you tread.
See, and that was a big thing for me. I didn't want to accept that. No matter how much I said it, like it really hit me, like the ups and downs or the bumps, because I didn't really want to. You go into that. I'll get into that later, but I didn't want to have to really face the pain. Like today, when I was doing Riley's homeschool journal for the week, I don't know what the fuck it is, but that fucking homeschool schedule just don't get done when I want it to get done. I will think of everything else to do except for that fucking schedule, and it drives me nuts that I just cannot put this fucking schedule as a priority. Everything else comes before it.
Because
And
at
it
your heart, I don't think you're an
sucks.
educator.
Yeah, I'm
Like,
not.
That's
yeah,
not
I'm
something
not
that you
like.
set out to do, but you feel like it's the best thing to do for your daughter, so thus you do it. But
Yeah,
it's not the thing that's inside of your heart.
it's
Dude, you never
not.
wanted to be a teacher.
And that's what, like, that's what kind of our things kind of revolve around. I'm not a teacher. I'm really learning with you, basically. We can learn this shit together.
Luckily, I did well inside of classes, and you're still like,
because I read, like, once we start getting in algebra and shit, she gonna have to get a fucking tutor. I don't like that. I can teach you some basic ass stuff, but I fucking hate
algebra. Is so bad?
I don't know it. I really don't. I'm really shitty at math. Not to burn it shitty where I can't do like mental math, but trying to like
understand.
I know my depth of it, and I'm just telling you right around.
There are variable levels of math, and as a person who's taken upper level math, I understand exactly what you're saying, and pretty much everyone has their limit. Like, I've been thinking about taking the GRE and going back to grad school just to. I don't know why I want to go back. There's some other stuff I want to learn, and they also would pay me to do my master's. So
yeah, but the point I was trying to get to that was I didn't want to go through like the pain, like the hard nitty gritty stuff, or sometimes like you be on automatic. Your own body, like everything else, like when you try to change something, it'll prevent you from doing that. Like, I'm going to get this done today, and everything else will just become a thing. And then you just frustrated because that thing didn't get done, or things aren't happening fast enough. Or the biggest thing was things didn't happen how I wanted it to happen. Because in my mind, you think like, oh, like with my business, I wanted things to go a particular way, and then it's not going the way, or not, even if it slow down, like, oh, fuck, I hate this part. Then I beat myself up because it's not going that particular way. Or let's like even with relationships, it's not going the way I thought it was going to go. And it was like, you just got to chill out and you just got to wait. Clearly, you're not ready for something yet. Clearly, something else has to happen in order for something else to happen. And you got to be okay with that.
All right. What's our next topic?
No, I think there's still.
More. No, I'm talking about the next topic with
the next chapter. Okay, because he was
the
like,
next chapter is.
That's like, damn, he just shut her topic down. I was like, all right.
I thought of all these things as separate topics in and of themselves. So we're hitting a different point.
Okay.
Next chapter is happiness is a problem. I fell asleep.
I'm on the pursuit of happiness, and I know everything around is gonna be gold.
I don't know. I don't think I was half asleep when I was watching this video, and I screenshotted everything I wanted to talk about. But the screenshots don't make sense. So what do y'all think about that title?
What?
Or you can speak about what he's talking about in the book.
I don't know.
What other screenshots do you have?
I'm not going to show you because it's organized. I'm like,
are they quotes from the book?
Yes. And while he was doing the book, while he was doing the YouTube video.
If you read the quotes, I can tell you.
No, look. Oh my God. It's so like random.
It sounds like he doesn't want you to be chasing a high. From what I saw, the summary is just like always chasing happiness is not necessarily useful because you're always looking to be happy. And you're not always going to be happy.
Okay, so I guess another point from the book that we can speak about is acceptance of pain and recognizing what pains that you're willing to accept in your life and what pains you're not willing to accept. And so I guess, how do you feel about that just as a broad concept?
Understanding that certain things are going to suck for a while in order for us. Like, yes, pain is a part of life. Things suck.
But we say that, but do we really believe that shit is? Like, why is everything geared towards not wanting to feel the pain?
Because pain sucks and it hurts.
Yeah, but...
So what pain have you accepted for your life, Charles?
In order to lose weight, I have to work out. Working out is not necessarily always going to be a fun process. It's something I'm fine with doing, but it's not always fun. There are days that you have to wake up and your legs are sore and you just got to accept that you do it. Or there were certain things like pains I accepted in going to college is like, there's going to be a debt here, or like there's going to be sacrifice because I'm not going to be able to do everything. I can't go out and party like some of my friends can because I'm inside of the science. I'm not inside of I'm not inside a field of study that allows that. So I'm going to have to sacrifice these things. And maybe sacrifice and pain aren't necessarily synonymous, or they're not synonyms inside of this case.
They are.
So yeah, there's just things that you're going to have to sacrifice.
Well, no, I was just asking, speaking on like for you for a general term, because you were speaking very generally, and so I was like, to bring this more to like.
I still can't like. I was having this conversation not too long ago about some people who still kind of they want things, but they're not willing to do the things necessary in order to actually get them. So you're not really to sacrifice. You're not really to reallocate your time to do the thing that you actually, the goal that you want to hit, because all this other shit makes you happy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a conversation I repeatedly have with Tony, because it's just like, they're not going to stop doing these things because these things make them happy. But, and the lofty end goal keeps them going on a day-to-day basis when it comes to going to and from work and stuff, shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, the going out, the drinking, that crap, that's what makes them happy. I also think that's a fundamental they need to fundamentally reassess their goals, because of what you're doing right now is what makes you happy. If that's taken away from you, then you have, you're always chasing it. I guess it's kind of both. Well, we said we're not always going to be happy. I think that's what we're on right now.
Yeah, we're not always going to be happy, and we're not okay with the mundane. Is what he says in the book too. We're not okay with those boring moments in your life where a large amount of your life is those unexciting moments. And then someone is always trying to tell you, well, if you had this, you'll be this. If you had that, you'll definitely get to that point. And I think that was a pretty cool point, not to we just don't want to acknowledge the mundanity of fucking being a human. 90% of my day, like I said, becoming a business owner, and it's still weird to say, it solved a financial issue, but it didn't solve this core problem that I had. My personal relationships did not solve this core problem that I had. I just wasn't okay with the mundane. Inside my head, that always had to be something to attain for. And honestly, like I said, the business part of it, it was that and other stuff where I wasn't trying to address this gigantic gaping hole that I had in me. I was always trying to be happy, for lack of a better word. I was always chasing the carrot and didn't realize I was chasing this carrot, because I didn't just want to stop and say, what's wrong? What's this inherent thing? Why does this business or another person have to fill this void in you? And it just hit me to a couple months, oh, wait a minute. Because the way I described it was just this huge black hole, and I could not figure out, and it would come back every once in a while. Once I finally stopped chasing this carrot of what I thought happiness was, it was oh, you got to sit with this. This is going to suck for a very long time. But we have to figure out not even where it started. Well, what did it have to say? How could you sit with these things? And everything is geared towards you not wanting to deal with that. And don't nothing outside of yourself help feed into sit down and really, because that's real easy to say. I've been saying that for quite some time, but I didn't realize how bad it was until recently.
What was I thinking? I was thinking something. I think I kind of lost it, but I think it was something about. I think we were talking about relationships last week.
Mm-hmm.
And it was something about not necessarily always reaching for one because you're never really going to be happy or something like that. I don't know. I lost it. It's my brain was
looking for that to be the source of fulfillment.
Oh, and I think I remember now. My overall, I had to figure out a goal that I needed to not pick someone for just all the high moments.
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy in this particular moment. You got Pharrell happy playing in the background, yada, yada, yada. I need to be okay being around someone inside the very mundane parts.
Yeah.
Just sitting around, watching TV, and chilling. Because I don't necessarily consider that to be a very exciting thing. And you need to be able to share in these pedestrian ass moments. Nothing extraordinary is happening. When you're writing a book,
mm-hmm.
When you hit the end point and you release it, that's the high. But you got to be okay with the writing of the book. Or for me, I have to be okay with the making of the program, but the release of the program is going to be the high point.
Mm-hmm.
It just is. Nothing's but, and then the rest of it is literally the most boring part, which is something called brown development, which is just maintaining the application and keeping it running. But it's already deployed. There's nothing spectacular about it. Already got all the credit, but it has to still work. And you have to be okay with just making sure it still works, maintaining. And maintaining is typically the thing I feel like most people have the most problems with.
Yeah, don't nobody want to maintain anything. And that's the biggest part to even get to the next step.
Like a bunch of people lose weight, but a lot of people can't maintain the weight that they lost.
Yeah. And for me, it was about facing my own personal pain. And I just didn't, I thought I was doing it, but I really wasn't sitting. I mean, I made some progress, but the biggest thing that I was facing hit me smack dab in the face.
Schmaggity, schmaggity, smack, schmaggity, smack.
Okay, what about this one? You are not special. I don't think I did any screenshots on this one.
Most people aren't.
We can do that one.
Yeah?
Yeah.
You are not special. I think I was talking about this before where like school just kind of coddle you to think that you're some special snowflake that like everything you can do and all your dreams you can achieve and you must share with your counterparts. Every sharing is caring. I feel like we just be always taught like there's something special about you. You need to hone in on that. I don't know if it's just a Western thing, but I feel like everything we do is geared towards trying to make us feel like
we belong.
Yeah, like you that nigga and didn't do anything to like earn that.
I'm equal to Beethoven. It's like, no, you're not.
I think that it's even beyond that. It's more to the point of no one is special, not even Beethoven. Like, you're not special because you are just going through a lived experience. However your lived experience goes is how it's going to go. It's going to be filled with some pain, hopefully some growth, and depth.
You're not an adult to the basic.
Yeah, and so no one is special realistically beyond like thinking that the way that you feel or how someone handled you and the way that they treated you in the moment is the sole most important thing that has happened. You're not special.
That kind of flies in the face of what old boy was saying.
Huh?
You were saying something about a little blah 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 man or something like that. The Facebook that we were talking about.
Oh,
out there.
Donroe McGee's. Well, no, they go hand in hand. What this one is saying, what that one was saying is, you don't internalize anything from anybody, and you don't allow them to dictate who you are because you're an individual. And so, taking on outside
character traits.
Well, he calls them his bonds, but taking on outside character traits or letting like how your mother's religious.
Yes.
And if she was to like force that upon you and then you would adopt that and trying to like live your life by that, but also not really be aligned with that and who you are, that would cause your life agony and put you inside of like a curse. He uses very
interesting vernacular.
Well, the reason he calls it a curse is because it's, if let's say you're not interested in the church, your mother forces you to like engage with it to the point where you acquiesce and decide that you're just going to be a part of the church now. And so now she's kind of cursed you with this existence of unhappiness and like kind of self-loathing. So that's why he calls it a curse. Like it has like far-reaching ramifications if you like fully invest into it.
Oh,
but on the same token, if your mother was that and she brought that to you and then, but also was like, but you're allowed to like choose your own path, that would probably foster a much more like prosperous dialogue and relationship and like interaction with religion just ad nauseum, because you probably wouldn't feel like some of your earlier interactions with it were like
forced or
coerced. Yeah, forced or like you being like smacked with it in the face. So yeah, just like
this religion,
how it can be. So that's what that is more about. And this one is saying that's all true, I get, well, not even saying that that's all true, but what it's articulating is, while, yeah, no, you shouldn't do that, you should also recognize that
you also know
whatever happens to you, though, don't make you special. It's not something that is the most amazing antithesis to you. Like, you internalizing it is the other, like, side of that coin. Like, yeah, no, you can't allow other people to, like, interfere into your world like that, and you shouldn't let them, like, make you do certain things or even believe certain things about yourself that aren't inherent to your core. But then on the same token, you internalize them and choosing to believe them and dealing with that pain and that suffering doesn't make you special. And so that's what this one is saying. It's like, if you choose to do that, you're not special. If you choose to go through life however you want to go through life, it doesn't make you special. It's you going through life, and you have to recognize that
everyone goes through life.
Yeah.
But, okay, this is the only reason that I found issue with what he said. I'm going to read from the book. Go back. All of this, every person can be extraordinary and achieve greatness stuff is basically just jerking off your ego. It's a message that tastes good going down, but in reality, is nothing more than empty calories that make you emotionally fat and bloated. The proverbial Big Mac of your heart and brain. The ticket to emotional health, like that to physical health, comes from eating your veggies. That is accepting the bland, mundane truths of life. Truths such as your actions actually don't matter that much in the grand scheme of things, and the vast majority of life will be boring and not noteworthy, and that is okay. This vegetable course will taste bad at first, very bad, but once ingested, your body will wake up feeling more potent and alive. Okay, so if he wrote a book that affected millions of lives, how is that not important? How is that not special? And you was talking about how Beethoven wasn't special, so I want to hear your opinion on make that make sense to me.
Tony was more so talking about.
No, I meant literally.
Oh, you meant Beethoven as a special?
No.
Yeah.
Neither is Mark Manson.
But see, that's what I'm saying. You see, like, how could somebody write a book that was like the #1 bestseller?
It doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it don't matter. Whether he wrote the book or not, he is going to experience life. He's not special.
His achievement might be, but not him personally. Is that what you're saying?
His achievement can be great. You can achieve great things, but that doesn't like tantamount make you any greater.
Oh,
like you're going to go through the same ups and downs and hardships of life.
Okay.
Like he talks about a story where him and his buddy were 17 and well, he might have said they were in college. They were in a jacuzzi drinking, and his buddy was talking about jumping off this cliff and going to swim. He got separated from his buddy, went to go see this girl. His buddy ends up jumping off the cliff. Coming to find out, his buddy doesn't know how to swim. Buddy drowned because it's pitch black and no one can see where he is at.
Oh.
So
you're not immune to the...
You're not, yeah. So for him, it's like you're not immune to tragedy or to any events in life because you've done something good or you've done something that other people considered noteworthy.
Okay.
Oh,
you're not.
Mean, yeah, that's pretty much what I was trying to. I thought you were more so getting at.
But that's why I mean, it's So Beethoven did achieve something dope, but is he special? Not really. There's lots of people that achieve dope things.
He just didn't get recognized for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Beethoven probably wasn't the first one to be like, nigga, this Symphony 5 is hitting. But it's probably somebody else that wrote something even better than that. It's just Beethoven got it.
And so yeah, it's like we're all gonna go through life. We're all gonna have life's experiences. So realistically, being special is non-existent. You're not special. It doesn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
That make more sense because when you get into, I'm sure y'all heard that. I don't know if I heard that. Well, you get into spirituality, they say everything you do matters. So every choice that you make could lead to a bigger choice and da-da-da.
Yeah.
So that's where I was coming from.
Yeah.
But even in like quantum physics, I think they speak about how how we all connected, how everything like string theory is about how basically we all connected. So how could not turn in that left corner not affect something in the grand schedule? So in my mind, that made it special. But the action is special, not the person.
Because shit, everybody's doing it.
Yeah. So I was like, oh, I didn't understand that. But now that you put it that way, yeah, you're right. Because I remember thinking like, oh, if you write in, or even if you like somebody just wrote a book on whatever spiritual topic they wanted to say, the information is not yours. Or how we were speaking about how Deontay would go and say this information, but then wouldn't give you the book about where it come from. Like, he don't own that information, but it makes him feel special that he has it and nobody else can find it.
Yeah. And so exactly that is, you feel special, but you're not, sir. You're, and we know Deontay has had a full life experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, sure, you had a thing that made you feel special, but did it stop anything in life happening for me? No. You went through all of life just like the rest of us did.
Didn't inure you to death, didn't make you immortal, didn't.
But most of our culture is predicated on feeling special or them marrying themselves to their achievements. I did this, and so this means that.
Mm-hmm.
It means you're good at that. That's fine.
But
being
realistically,
good at something doesn't necessarily make you special.
Because I guess a question that that brings me to, which might be a little hard for Charles, is what if our purpose from whatever higher power created us was to die? And what I mean by that is like to die and become fertilizer and nutrients for the earth, and just continuously replenish this planet. What if that was our ultimate purpose?
We are being ravenous failures. But
ultimately, we'll probably cease to exist after a while, and the planet will rebound and continue. So regardless of what we're doing, we still dying and so on. So what if that was and there is nothing else? It's just you live, exist, and so you're not special, really. Like, there's so many just different possibilities that can exist. That
ultimately, dying is the one thing that everyone does.
Mm-hmm.
It is the only thing that is synonymous throughout all of, no matter what life type or whatever person that you are, no matter who you are, you die.
Unless you're Jesus.
You die and then you die again.
No, he died and teleported.
Where'd he go?
We don't know. He left the cave.
He died and teleported.
He rezzed and dipped.
He wasn't actually trying to be any kind of.
So wait a minute. After that, Jesus don't do shit else after?
No.
Really?
No. Yeah, no.
The next time that we're supposed to see Jesus.
Exactly. Yeah. You didn't know that?
To see Jesus.
What did you think happened?
He did more crusading.
No.
After he came
you're
back.
You're not going to see him until Revelations again.
So what happens is the cave is empty and that nigga just left. He said, I'm not doing this.
He was like, I'm not doing this no more. You niggas is crazy.
Yeah.
You put me up on a whole fucking cross by my wrist. What a smart man. What a smart man. Y'all can't say shit about Jesus.
I knew a good portion of these people who got me crucified.
Right.
I went to Sunday school with these dudes.
Excuse me, Saturday school.
Saturday school.
Like, Joshua over there, dude.
That's hilarious.
You had the nail.
Yeah, no, after he
just left?
Yeah, he's gone. Just leaves. Nope.
Oh, that's why these niggas want him to come back so bad.
Yeah,
oh,
that is it.
That explains it.
Yeah, no, he just left.
I'm like, why won't you say he did what he did? Like,
no.
He left them niggas.
Yeah, no, they killed him and then he left.
He fucking whispered in their ear. He played with their nipples and then was just like, bye.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's exactly what happened.
I don't understand why they would. What's wrong?
Yeah, no, my TV for my game.
Oh.
Yeah. You just click the other. Yeah, thank you. No, just go to the other one. Just hit refresh.
But ultimately, I'd have dipped too. It's not like these people can take you. It's just like you give them some ultimate philosophical, like, good stuff, and then they're like, "Nah, we about to hang your socialist ass. You can't be out here hanging the rich people. What's wrong with you?"
That's wild. I didn't know Jesus did that to y'all. That still don't absolve y'all for believing in fairy tales. But okay.
Yeah, no, Jesus definitely.
I don't necessarily. All right, that's something I don't.
Just.
I'm upset.
He's
I don't like. I will never critique anyone or like put anybody on blast for believing anything in particular, because whatever you need to get through the day, it's fine. Whatever.
That's something I struggle with. Like, if you have to know, like, your thoughts really do create shit, whether you like to admit that or not. So now that begs the question. If you really think Jesus is at the other end, do you go back to fucking Jesus? Like, American Gods had posted or just brought out to the point because Charles is black and Alejandro is Mexican. We got two different Jesuses.
No, I was thinking about something, a way that Charles could mess with his mom.
I'm not really trying to mess with my mom. I don't understand why I really want to do that. My mother, the things that my mother needed to do was the things to rectify her life.
No, I mean, like, does she ever, like, get on you about religion?
No.
Okay.
She stopped getting on me about religion
I was going to say.
When I had every single leg to stand on.
If she
like,
ever...
we were going to church and then this church was stealing electricity. I'm like, yo, I can't abide this. It's just like, y'all, they're literally talking out of one mouth. They're saying one thing and doing a whole nother thing. That's problematic.
That's problematic as fuck.
Okay, well then,
it's just like
I was gonna say.
And then at that point, I mean, I will go to church as a gift to her, and then everyone welcomes me there. But also, the sheer amount of time everyone spends complaining about church makes me just not want to be there.
You know what you got to do? If anybody complain or starts talking about being in church, ask them when's the last time they were washing feet.
The fuck?
Washing feet is in the Bible. You're supposed to wash others' feet. It's an act of service. It shows humility and you being humble and that you're not too
good to wash
proud and too good to wash somebody else's feet. Jesus washed feet.
It ain't as bad as it used to be. Also, by the way,
those feet back then.
The beginning of the Bible is technically absolutely worthless.
The what?
The Old Testament of the Bible
is worthless.
But no, Jesus, that's the New Testament is where Jesus was washing feet. Jesus was washing feet.
No, that's what I'm saying. As a Christian, you were pretty much only supposed to listen to the New Testament because Jesus said all the rest of that shit was not necessary.
So
Jesus existing was supposed to circumvent all this other stuff.
My toes need washed.
Because there's a lot of things.
Jesus washed toes.
I was out here sending bears to bald children because they made fun of bald dudes.
Yeah.
They were I was out here doing some wild stuff. Out here flooding the earth. Out here,
that's what I said.
Sitting down cataclysms.
I can't be
Jesus
afraid.
Just came around. It's like, all right, he about to chill. I just need you guys to pray through me, and I'll be your filter. Imagine you got this dude who sanitizes everything that you say. Imagine you got a social media manager who does all your tweets for you.
You know what?
That's what Jesus is.
That's probably why all the Christian prayers don't get answered. Like when they individually pray for the lotto and shit, he be like, they just said they love you, God.
Yeah,
I'm gonna just keep all these selfish prayers to myself because
they're not supposed to do that. Come from the heart, their prayers don't even come.
I just
let me win $1 million.
It's because the wine's about to do this lotto, and if you got the COVID vaccine, you are entered into with a chance for this entire month. You could possibly win $1 million.
So I should go get it this month for all the whole month of June.
I do believe it's the whole month of June.
Is it May or June?
I don't know. I just know I'm entered.
I'm gonna go get it.
I automatically assume that you knew about that.
I don't care about that.
You decided.
I mean, if I randomly show up with $1 million,
I want to travel. That's more the reason why I'm gonna get it.
I mean,
yeah, that's my thing.
And
if I go out the country, I'm like,
they doing too many gymnastics with this fraudulent shit.
Yeah.
Because it's man, if I win that $1 million, I'm paying off all my student loans and I'm about to be out here backflipping.
The feds already caught a CVS worker that was selling the Vax cards.
Yeah. They were not playing around with that.
So
I don't understand why you would buy that from this CVS nigga.
Because he has access to the cards and the stickers.
Oh, he was just printing them out.
So he was probably just putting stickers on there and giving out the cards, and he still got caught. So technically, those weren't really fraudulent cards; they're actual cards. So technically, he stole federal documentation. And he's probably going to go to jail for he's going to federal jail, which is actually technically better than state jail.
I fuck with his hustle.
Me too. I'm not mad at that. I wish I didn't.
I'm not mad at your I'm not mad at your
I wish I knew you, bro.
But they're never going after the people who got the cards.
Yeah, for what? I wish I knew him.
It's just give me one of these.
Yeah, man, shit.
But
I'm salty, but it is what it is. Any other quotes from the book? What are we talking about?
We talked about death at the end of the book. If y'all want to talk about that, because that's my favorite subject in the world.
Death is just finality.
No, death is not just finality. He argues how you should think about it all the time. Charles, what do you think about that?
He's a fucking weirdo.
Why wouldn't you not think about death all the time?
Why would you walk through life thinking
or most
about
of the time?
What he argues is you should overcome your innate fear of death. What he says is that humans are basically
his friend didn't have an innate fear of death.
Well,
now he did. Shut the fuck up.
That's true. That's true. But that's not what
he literally just talked about. Nigga, you ain't special jumping off this thing. You're not immune to this. But it's just like overcoming the innate fear of death is basically saying
no.
Death doesn't matter to you and thus you are special.
That's not what he's saying. So you got to listen since you just you didn't even listen. Since I'm the one that actually read the book.
Yeah.
He articulated with so there's not a real big difference between like humans and apes and shit like that.
True.
The only difference is that we can conceptualize our death.
I'm pretty sure monkeys know when their friends are dying.
No, they don't know when they're dying. They can't conceptualize their own death. They can't picture a world where they don't exist. Sure, animals can tell when something else is dying. But when do they know when do they think about a world where they don't exist anymore? I
mean, their entire goal is to continue existing.
Exactly. So that's what he's saying. So the reason, since we can conceptualize the fact that we don't exist at some point, that everything we've tried to do up until this point has been people who wanted to have a lasting effect, trying to attain some sort of immortality or
have an impact
and and just like have their name carried on, their legacy, have large families, have great works, write historical books, just lots of just different things. Once we recognize that, hey, we're going to eventually no longer be here, we immediately started trying to find ways to immortalize ourselves. And so his point was that shouldn't be your goal in life, is to like creating something that is going to be like you in totality, in like perpetuity, isn't exactly like what your life should be focused on. And so focusing on death in that way isn't healthy. But he says that, so what he did was he went to a cliff. And so he climbed up it while his friends were down at the beach. And he gets like about 5 feet from the edge. And he says that was fine, but once you get to about 3 feet from the edge is when your body kind of starts to go into like its own survival instincts mode. And you like notice like it's harder to move forward, and like you have mental warnings in your brain just screaming like, hey, this is dangerous. And so he said that like working to recognize that, hey, I'm not in a dangerous space, but also recognize it's like you actually having to come in face with death is what he said. It felt like to him is coming up to face of death and then just being able to sit there at the edge of the cliff. He said, I got about to the 1 foot mark, he said, and that's when he's like, my body started to just crash down naturally and just like draw in. He said, I sat down and just like anytime that I started to like feel like how amazing this accomplishment was, I would immediately look back down and that sense of like death and fear would come right back up. But he did that back and forth until he was able to actually like tolerate the real feeling of like what it would be like when he no longer exists, or like thinking about that and thinking about that through. And so not necessarily, so no, still you're not special. It's just accept that death is also a thing. And then, but him also like sitting in that feeling of death and
existential dread.
Yeah. And being able to like overcome that and recognize, all right, so yes, eventually this sensation is going to be a reality, but it is not a reality right now. And
I don't know.
While it's not, just do what I'm experience life.
My entire relationship with death is very different than most people's, because it's just like, I don't know. To some degree, I technically have what's called invasive thoughts. So this is just like, yo, you should just go jump off that building. And I'd have to look at myself like, no, that's not a good idea. Luckily, my overall like self-control is at the point where it's just like, you should figure out what it's like to jump off those stairs. Good. I'm good. Very good.
See, you don't feel like, for me, it's like there's something to death would free me from something, or at least that's what I was under the impression of before. Yeah. Now I see like you only die. Somebody said this. I was watching this fucking astrologer and she said you only die once, but you live every day or some weird shit. And then it put that more in perspective for me where it's like I meditated on death before because I did want to get used to this feeling like, why am I so deeply, profoundly afraid of it? It's never really going to go away.
Always going to be there.
It's always going to be there, but I don't even know how necessarily it's going to make you more comfortable to think about it. Because like you said, your body will just start saying, hello, we don't want to die, dum-dum. We're not about this life.
Like there's certain things, there are certain places, there's certain stuff. Like when people like, because it's like I have people that I know and friends that have committed suicide up to this point. A girl committed suicide when I was in high school. I actually had a friend of mine from college commit suicide. It's just like, it's very random. And I'm not going to say it was terribly surprising in one case, but it was still like disappointing. I don't really even know how to vocalize it. But it was one of those things where it's just like, damn.
Yeah, I guess disappointment's probably.
It's because they were pretty chill people. I mean, one was kind of aggro, but they were cool. I don't know. My entire relationship with death is very odd because I've only had one person inside of my family that was terribly close to me die.
It just sobered me up to think about, not from like an escapism point anymore, just to motivate me to be like, okay, you have things to do now. Go do them. You're very worthy of living this life that you want to live. And death is the reminder to be like, bitch, you only gonna die once. And if you had to go in the whole rebirth cycle of being reincarnated, I don't I want to try to get it right for the most part. And since I just don't want to reincarnate. So I'm like, all right, let's get this out the way.
The death and rebirth, you'll want to die.
Like, I don't know what's.
And then wake up with somebody looking at you like,
and then I'm fucking Susie Q again because I didn't learn the lesson the last time. Bitch, if you don't stop being hard-headed and get this quiz right, because clearly you're not going to let you leave. You can't
grow
go.
Up from being a marmoset.
Yeah, like you can't grow beyond your own consciousness. So you might as well do these things so we don't have to fucking go through this shit again. Cause then you forget. I was like, ugh, I don't
Nobody wants to get sent back and be a male praying mantis.
I don't want to do
a terrible
anything.
life.
Like, nigga, I done seen what I needed to see and it's not fun no more. So just don't want it.
I don't know. I've never not enjoyed life. I'm a weirdo like that though. It's like, life has always been enjoyable. There's just been random things that have very much nudged me towards depression.
Life has not been enjoyable for me, and that's what was the constant escape from it. Like, you niggas is some pretty much really empathetic, so I can tune into the changes in the room, the way you look at somebody, the body changes, like anger, everything just was really sensitive to me. And
ratcheted up to like 12.
Yeah, it's like I don't want to do it. And then people constantly telling you like you got to turn that shit off. That made me helly resentful towards humans because I'm like, I can't turn this shit
That's
off.
Not the way
Fuck
that
you.
Works at all. My brain just works.
Yeah, so I'm like,
nowhere it's just like, this is where I am.
All right, well, if I just can't be who I am, then
be someone else and be happy. It's like, you telling me to be happy isn't gonna change shit, bro.
Or not to feel what you feel is the biggest thing.
Just don't feel depressed.
I think I kind of got that lesson without knowing it from moving around a lot. Like, as a kid, when you go to so many different high schools and elementaries, you kind of get to just present whoever you want to the new group of people. And I guess I started to recognize that who I presented and who I was didn't have to align all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as I was comfortable with who I was, I generally was okay. And then but it also helped that I was able to find people that, regardless of what I wanted to present, that I could find people that also aligned with like who I really was. Like when I was doing all the like entry level gang shit in California, I was also going and sitting outside my friend's house and playing Yu-Gi-Oh after class and shit like that. Or playing Yu-Gi-Oh inside the neighborhood and going around to different kids' houses. So it was a very
binary existence.
Yeah, and so for me, I learned early on that as long as I was able to feed my core, it didn't matter what I presented. But it sounds more like you weren't able to get any nourishment for the core of who you were. Even if you presented like something else to people, it was never like, all right, well, y'all see this, but I'm going to go find this. But there was never like that extra thing to go find for you.
Yeah, and I took it so seriously.
I mean, that is like, if you're...
I took it so seriously.
If they're saying, hey, don't be who you are and deny the core of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And you just got to constantly deny who you are as a person, that's never going to breed like anything that's healthy.
Not at all. Especially like the amount of crying that I did as a kid. Crying is a no-no in school. You don't do that because I would get angry and cry. I still do that to this day. Get angry and cry. Yeah, but you know how it is in school. Don't nobody want to deal with you crying. So you don't get to feel. You don't get to feel what you feel at all. And then going home, it was even more so. You don't get to feel what is this feeling thing that you're doing.
I think that's probably a core premise of why you're homeschooling Riley, is because that it's like you don't want them to deal with the bullshit.
Yeah, but why would you want any kid to deal with that? Like, you just cart your kid off to school and just be like, well, that's life. Like, why can't we start saying, this is not life. This is not okay how kids treat each other.
I mean, the random bullshit is like, for the most part, that's what I got throughout my entire thing. It's just like, as a dyslexic kid, you just need to work harder. I can't outwork seeing letters differently.
See, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I was fortunate where my mother was the first one that like was dyslexic and they didn't know it for her. And they just ignored it and told her she was lazy and didn't work hard enough. Right. So when I came around and had dyslexia as well, she was like, no. We gonna go get him tested and did all these other things. Because I would get teachers. Like I had a middle school teacher that was mad because I had like a 504, which is basically like an IEP.
Yeah.
But like one step higher. So like, I technically could make a college recognize it if I really wanted to. It's a federal like label, whereas an IEP is only like a state thing.
Yeah. I went to school within my state, so maybe my IEP actually transferred.
Yeah. So anywhere I go.
That would have been a wild, annoying problem.
Yeah, because I was all over the place. So for me, getting a 504 was like
the logical step.
Yeah. But they were like, well, you have this, so how are you in like all the AP and honors classes? Bitch, because I'm smart. Because I tested the fucking gifted level. That's why I'm here. Has nothing to do with the fact that letters switching my... But sure. But since I had that label to them, she just was like, he doesn't belong here, and like was super like, nah, he doesn't know how to do the work. He needs to try harder. If the letters move around on the page, what would you like me to do?
It's like there's certain letters that are motherfuckers for me. P and Q will always be motherfuckers.
B and D.
B and D will always be motherfuckers.
P and Q, B and D.
It's just like, why are you like this? What are you doing?
You see
I'll
how
read a number and then say it wrong.
You see how we normalize that shit?
Numbers deal with a different part of my brain from what I understand. So but there are certain things that I'm very much capable. But you know what? If you write a 9, it looks like an upright it looks like a freaking upright fucking. I can't even. When I think about P and Q, it's like this is P, this is Q. Write an upright 9. All right, that's also kind of like a Q. So am I supposed to write it like this or like this? That would be the only number I would fuck up. But like,
see, I don't fuck up the numbers like in writing them.
Yeah,
it's in verbalizing them. I'll read it correctly. I'll write it correctly. If I say it, I'll move numbers around. I don't know why vocalizing it, my brain is like, nah, we're going to change those places. And it's always the last 2 numbers.
It randomly pops up for different people. And it's just like, mine is like, generally I can read stuff mostly fine. My reading speed is great. But when I'm out here, letters would just be flipped. And my 2nd grade teacher yelled at me one time. And I'm like, what? I mean, I was a very odd kid. I had my 1st grade teacher yell at me and 2nd grade teacher yell at me. But apparently I was a lot more of a smartass when I was a child than I actually gave myself credit for. Because I guess I turned around and said, what is the matter with you? What is your problem?
Yeah, you see how we just normalized, don't talk back to me. Like, you see how we've normalized a lot of things. And that's my decision to homeschool. Just because it's normalized does not mean it's normal. And it don't even feel right intrinsically, like, just to see my kid go off. And I don't even know what's happening to her for like 9 to 5. That shit. That's a whole reason, slew of reasons why I choose to do this.
Definitely didn't like the fact that, because I wasn't necessarily talking back, but I'm going to ask why. You do this.
Yeah, you can't ask why. Like, if Riley asked me why, she's not going to be shunned for it.
So. No, but why? If your mother told you to do it, what would you say? Why? I asked her the same question and she tells me.
Yeah.
And then they called my mother and then she explained to them that, yeah, he's allowed to ask why I'm telling him something.
Be able to ask questions.
I'm allowed to ask why, and regardless of I recognize that I probably do have to do it because you're in a position of authority. Just want to know why you're telling me to do this. Is that wrong?
You could have just told me practice.
Yeah. And then
it's just like
that leads on to other things in life. Like, I never felt, still to this day, I don't feel safe to express how I feel to a lot of people. And that's just carried on. Like, didn't nobody nurture that shit then? Now I gotta now I have to learn 20 some odd years of fucked upness. Yourself. And now I'm here. I have to, like, it's okay to say you don't like that. Now I have to keep retraining myself. It's like, they train you to be this thing. If I wasn't very clear about why I actually homeschooled Charles, it's a slew of reasons. So,
I mean, I doubt it. If it was probably just one reason, you might be able to get over it or undo that particular.
Yeah, like if it was just like an emotional thing, it was like, well, she can come home and talk to me about it. But there's a slew of things.
It's just like, you do this and you do this and you do this. You know what? It's going to be more work for me to undo all of these things than just do it myself, probably.
Right. Or just put you in a space where it's okay because now you spend all this time with other people outside the household. I don't get to see my baby for what, like 4, let me see. If you go to school from now to whatever the fuck now, 9 to 3, so that's 6 hours. And then for me to get home, if I was working a regular job, so that's 9 to 5 plus the commute. So I might get home at 9 and 6 or 7. If bedtime is at 10, when did I get to see my kid?
That 4 hours of homework.
No, you were cooking.
Yeah, then maybe if you lucky,
the way you guys vocalize,
you got a husband on top of that, and then my weekend. Now I'm tired and I'm exhausted because I've spent my entire week doing everything outside the house. If I had the job, now even if I'm lucky to have a husband, I was like, no, I want to be the main provider, and you go do the thing. Now I got to deal with that. Like that's a lot, and I'm not willing to sacrifice that for my little girl. Or if I have another kid and somebody gets knocked up, hopefully they understand, they be on the same page with the homeschooling thing. But that's a lot of time sacrificed for me. And that's not freedom to me. And I've seen something wrong with that.
Well, I think that kind of comes back to the book where in the last chapter where he talks about there's freedom in commitment.
Yeah.
And like, sure, you could absolve yourself of the responsibility of Riley's education and like kind of let that be up to like other people and just a system ad nauseum, which is what a lot of parents do. No judgment, Cass. Just
it's nothing.
Just it is what it is,
and it works. It works for what it's supposed to do.
Depending upon who you are, things function differently. That's kind of just the way life is. Just because regular schooling works for a lot of people doesn't mean it needs to work for everyone. Like I have seen like some of the more proficient people I have seen in terms of certain inside of academically, they typically come out of homeschooling. Those are the kids who hit college at like 16 and do all that other stuff.
Yeah. So, and not only that, it just provides me with a level of freedom. I'm willing to sacrifice my days because I was a teen. Like technically I had a teen pregnancy because I got pregnant at 19 and then 20, I was straight into.
Even with you doing the teaching, you being committed to it has allowed you a different level of connection with your daughter. There's a freedom of communication that you wouldn't have if she was always in school and you never saw her.
Yeah.
And so there's just a level of freedom and commitment. He used the example of like how he used to like chase women and then decided that he wanted to settle down and be married, and like choosing to be married, there is actually a freedom in that, a freedom to like not worry about how you're being perceived and being able to focus on the other things that are actually important to you. The freedom to know someone on an intimate level and not really have to play like a guessing game of who this person is yeah. So just like, there's just certain things that you can achieve, or just like for me, I would say like going to school, like being committed to that definitely gave me a level of like knowledge and understanding of just business that I wouldn't have achieved if I had decided to just like quit halfway or just kind of go for a quarter or a semester and then give it up. So I think there's a level of freedom and like the way that you can operate inside of commitment. Cause I think that this is going to just continue to build like that relationship with you and your daughter.
Yeah. Because I might not have the option of her not being I want this. I definitely need a break from my baby all fucking day. I definitely need the break. This is not all rainbows and sunshine where I just is like, this is the bee's knees. Like all weekend, she was like, I'm bored. And she was just in my face. I'm like, we spend enough time together. You're going to have to unboard yourself. Please go away. And that's just the fact of life. But also like making her breakfast in the morning or her first thing when she just wakes up when she wants. She just come and be like, good morning, Ma. And then just, goes about, we get our day started. Things like that. Like I'm willing to sacrifice. I don't have to go out every day and I don't want to work for nobody else. There's a lot like my freedom I'm starting to see, or I've been seeing, like I'm willing to sacrifice all this shit that people hold in high regard in order to have this level of freedom. Because we can go anywhere. Like if I had to pull Riley out for that Myrtle Beach trip, we would have to catch up on work and all that shit. I'm just like, we'll get to it when we get to it. I want to take you somewhere and I want to go on vacation.
I mean, people need to understand that everything has a cost benefit analysis.
Yeah.
Everything has goods and bads when things.
Yeah.
It's just like you have to curate your daughter's entire lesson plan. But because you are the curator of the lesson plan, you get more freedom.
Yeah.
It's like, yes, there's always going to be some level of.
Yeah, like I have to pay for everything now that I'm a homeschool mom. Everything come out of my pocket. So if I don't have the money to pay for something, or I gotta find resources or whatever, that shit is my responsibility.
But shit, realistically, the Myrtle Beach trip, y'all went and saw
fishies,
the water and an aquarium, and that's a field trip.
Yeah,
that's a gained experience that you and your daughter are gonna have that she's still going to be able to benefit from, and like just experience it different, because how many people do just really, really do get to go on vacation and understand like, all right, vacationing is a part of life and something that you should do on a semi-regular basis but most people can't even get to that status or really articulate that, or they live to do just that. And so it shouldn't be you living to vacation where you're like, I got to work these 90 hours for the next 6 months. And then I'm going to be able to take one of my 2 vacations this year.
90 hours.
Like, yeah. Like, no, it's crazy. Like, you can't really, like.
That's a lot of
time. It's a lot of time. And it's just, I could never wrap my head around that. Every job I've had has been, like, at night where I could do whatever the hell I wanted. Like, freedom to me is, like, the most, it's probably one thing above freedom. that's like, but like I said, I recognize now between fun and freedom.
But you have to sacrifice for freedom.
Yeah, like you just, what's
Things have
fun?
to be
You know
made.
what's not fun? Going for sourcing for shit. That shit takes a long ass while for you to find stuff to sell. But you know it's really cool. I get to I can say like, oh, I'm only doing this for an hour today. I'm only doing this for 2 hours a day. And still maybe possibly come up with some good shit. But that's also not the funnest thing. I enjoy it, but it's also not the funnest thing all the time.
Yep. That's life. There's good that comes with the bad. There's a lot of mundane that goes with the good things.
True that.
There's a lot of vanilla to go with the chocolate. I don't think there is going to be his turn this time. It's like, yeah, hour 30 in.
I mean, I got a topic if y'all want to go with it.
How long is the topic?
Well, not really long.
Oh, well, let's run it.
All right. I'll pause it real quick.
That's what you were telling me to do. You were just waving at me. Okay.
Is it okay? There it is. It's moving. Charles was typing.
That shit did look dusty as fuck now.
Oh, that's a clip.
Dusty.
I don't know how the hell that got there.
What?
Well, this is gonna be interesting.
What? It's gonna be interesting.
Oh, I think this is a clip, but I don't want to. We're playing, by the way.
I know we're recording, but I mean, you were talking about what was happening, and I was seeing it.
Ew.
All right, well, stop doing that right now.
Don't be out here playing this stuff.
Since we were just talking about Ash before we had to take a quick pause, in school, I wanted to take it on to bullying and how bullying has become, I guess, all encompassing versus like how you feel like bullying was when you were a child. And as we all know, Ash's engagement with bullying was probably the most
Why would you single me out like that? Like Ash was bully as fuck, wasn't you?
because you just singled you out the last topic.
He looked over how you turn your body.
No one can see that. No one can see that.
Ash, with your bullied ass. What you
No
think?
one can see
Oh
my body
God,
language. No one can see that I
hear bullying
I
kids.
can't. No, he looked at me like your bullied ass. Ash.
Like she
I
was
know why
bullied.
because I be
was
bullying
bullied.
you too. He a bully. He know the bully when he see one, don't he? Like, yeah, come on, Ash, tell your fucking story.
Tony's dichotomy with people is very, very odd. Like his overall stories of adolescence is just like, oh, I was friends with all the developmentally disabled kids. I would beat up people that tried to make fun of them. Not acceptable.
but also mean to other people.
It's just like, I like you, but you also can't be out here being no asshole though.
So Tony, I'll say I was bullied.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of.
This nigga done got none of space in his heart to be like, I wish a nigga would.
I mean, it was like people would attempt to bully, and then like we could fight for real if that's where you really want to take this, my dude. And it never really escalated to that level, so the bullying usually like tapered off.
Yeah, see, that's the same with me, with your not knowing ass. No one ever bullied me because of how tall I was. Like, you can hear girls make side comments and shit, but no one never was just like, oh, you this, you that, you this, not and the other. I was never picked on in that way. Like, I've been called lame plenty of times. I've been made fun for, like, some of the clothes choices, yeah, but never, like, someone every day made my life hell. No.
No, I've, like, as a child, that happened to me, but I moved schools and that really wasn't an issue anymore. But I had to move schools because of a lot of things, because my school was, for the most part, deficient for me as a dyslexic kid.
Mm-hmm.
If you hit the wrong school as a dyslexic child, it's real fucky.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know you was like that too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. We just had a whole conversation.
I thought you was agreeing with this nigga. I didn't know, like,
no.
we share the same struggle.
It's like, it's the most interesting thing.
Me and him will
how
be.
do you spell this? Nigga, you know good goddamn well, this is literally the worst room in the world right now to actually ask someone how to spell something.
Yeah, like when it's just me and Charles, don't ask us how to spell shit.
Texan.
Now, we can say and articulate and explain what it means, but if you want me to spell it, you better go somewhere.
I didn't really
with
learn
that.
how to do commas until I just learned how I talk.
Oh, commas are super stupid.
What happened with commas? What do they look like? They look like something different?
No, it's just
you
where to
don't
utilize them.
really
It doesn't
make sense
Oh.
Don't talk about it.
when you're writing.
It's like I learned how to use certain
I
things.
was thinking of Vampire Weekend song. I
Because-
caught you. I
Yes.
caught you.
I'm all over the place. I don't give a fuck.
But I was surprising as fuck. I'm like,
I don't give a fuck about an Oxford comma. Fuck that shit.
go ahead.
Yeah, commas are trash. No, I mean,
So
They're
when you
useful
see
for
them,
lists. They're useful for very certain things. Like when you're introing a paragraph, so that means like firstly or second or things of that nature.
separation of thought. It's
I
probably,
thought it was a pause. Like,
Well, yeah,
remember
that's what I mean. So
and
probably for dyslexic people, the separation of thought.
So you don't see no point in having them. Oh,
It don't really go in our mind.
oh, so
we
you see
don't-
that comma, you just don't see it at all. It just
No,
go
we see that and recognize that it's there and we'll stop. Us in our writing and putting it there don't necessarily happen.
Oh,
I mean, when I look at it, it's just like it was just there are rules to putting them places, and I just have to because I'm gonna have to re-educate myself.
y'all got to have an editor big time. Y'all
Yeah.
better pay for like the creme de la creme of editors to help you with that.
I mean, that's ultimately what my mother is doing right now for her second master's. She just pays an editor. and
She got a
sets stuff
second
on it.
master's.
Yeah, she has a first master's.
Oh my God, is
She
she
got a
tired? Didn't she need a break?
Yes, I mean, she
Why did she? need
she
Jesus?
thought she was done, and then her
Right.
job said, "You know what? You need a master's inside of this thing. I already have like a bachelor's, a master's, and a doctorate. You want me to go back and get another master's?" And the thing that I got my doctorate in.
Yes.
Why are you like this? This is a very dumb requirement.
Yeah, she's sleepy.
But on the term of bullying, I was bullied in kindergarten, preschool. I don't know. Me and my best friend jumped the bully. And then he stopped bullying us.
See how this story turned around? I wish a nigga would.
Real quick. It's just
Yeah, like he keep trying to say, like he just want to be like, oh, I'm so humble, and someone tried to bully.
No, I was being bullied. It was happening for a while
But you
until
whooped the
we
nigga's
jumped him.
ass. Was that still bullying?
Yeah,
It's just
if it
like-
happened for more than like a week, it was bullying, and then we said we're not doing this. And so he would target us while we were taking a piss. Exactly. The
that's a
weakest
very
point.
odd time. It's just like
No,
this
it's
is-
not. It's smart.
Well, no.
Get your dick out.
Yeah,
As a
because you're-
person and as a male, for some reason,
As a
I view it as
5-year-old.
when you're peeing, this is the time is basically sacrosanct. I understand why someone would target someone while I was peeing, but there's also nothing that you can really gain from this. Because if I beat your ass and then my dick's all out, there's nothing to be gained for you.
Not at
There's
all.
probably some pee on you
Yeah,
now.
but as a
A 5-year-old,
as he's the
6-year-old
bigger kid, he's the
Oh.
biggest in the class, and we're in kindergarten.
But if you
It's-
win, you got peed on.
But no, not if he grabs you from behind and just holds you up, and now you piss on yourself.
What's wrong with this boy?
Somebody taught him not to do
Y'all
that. Damn,
should.
poor
He
kid.
completely and totally deserved
So
it. Even my bullies didn't ambush me while I was peeing.
me and my best
I
friend
had the decency to
we
wait.
get ambushed while we were peeing, and then we talked to our moms, and our moms are the one who gave us the idea to jump them. And so the plan was one of us going first, which was me. I went in first to pretend like I was gonna go pee. He
I would've
came
loved
in,
to have seen
and then my friend came in after him, and then we beat him up in the bathroom. And then he became like our bodyguard and our best friend. I also had bullies
Okay, Mikey.
in elementary school, and shut up, Charles. And I lied to them and told them that I went to the doctors and said that if I ever got hit one more time, that I would die. And they believed that, and they became like my best friends and like protectors as well. And so that
funny.
was cool. Yeah, no, I was smarter than most.
I would die.
Y'all are dumb.
Yeah, most people that tried to bully me, I was smarter than, so that didn't happen. And then once it got
Again,
to
I'ma
like,
die.
then it stopped being a thing, and then I kind of became like, kind of a bully. Like in 6th grade, I told this girl that had low self-esteem and like body image issues that she was fat. The rest of the class tried to jump me after that. It didn't go too well for them. I was in honors class, and so it was a whole bunch of like
Nerds.
Asians and Indian nerd kids. So yeah, no, y'all got this work.
Like, why are y'all doing this?
They tried
Y'all
to
are-
hold me against a bar, so I broke off, hit the dude in front of me in the stomach, and it's like, all right, well, we could go. And then they didn't really want to fight. They just wanted to be like able to like let her slap me. No, we're not doing that. I'll apologize, but we're not slapping me.
Like, we could have a civilized conversation about it.
I like how he was like, all right, I know I did something fucked up, but
I'll put hands to all of y'all. Let me
know, I know what I said was messed up, but I'm not going to let you hit me.
I don't care that what I said is messed up. I've already hit this one. So we can commence to hitting, or we can commence to talking, but I won't commence the apologizing or letting her slap me. I shouldn't have said she was fat. I shouldn't have, but I did, and we're here now. So, that ended, and they didn't want to fight me. It's a very interesting
situation because I don't understand how you talked your way out of being jumped. Well, I guess they weren't necessarily with the jumping
because they were nerdy kids,
and they should have been able to count.
No.
But I guess I guess at some point there's always that one person who has to be willing to get hit.
So the person that was probably the most athletic and my equal, aka like my best friend in the class, was on the class's side because this is fucked up. This is wrong. He was the first one I hit. All right, so your strongest weapon is go now. What's up?
It's the first one I hit.
Yeah, he was the
only one person I had to be worried about,
and this nigga was in front doing the yelling. Get off of me! Gut check. We can fight, and so no. Now that the strongest one that y'all had on y'all side is
your
out the way,
leader is dead.
You have been defeated.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It happened about the way I said things actually happened inside of Tokyo Revenge.
Yeah.
It's just like, what happened?
But what's the point of this bully question since this nigga come out on top of every situation?
I would not. The question was, how do y'all view bullying in the past versus now? And then y'all was like, oh, this nigga was never bullied. It wasn't that I was never bullied. It was just when I was bullied, I was either one, getting my homie and we were jumping the bully, or able to negotiate my way out of being bullied, and then I kind of became the bully. I wouldn't even count that even being bullied, Tony. I would just count that as someone trying to give you your comeuppance, and you just kind of... No, that's what I said. I transitioned to the bully in 6th grade. And then I was fully gang affiliated 7th and 8th grade and yelling slurs at the other smaller gangs and harassing them. So full in bully mode. And then I went to my first year, I went to Valley High. And then it was weird because I was like wearing nothing but blue laces and all that. But then I was also in the ROTC. So one day a week I was in like... Air Force uniform, blues, but it was okay because it was blue, and so that's how I rationalized it in my mind. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, like I rationalized the fact that I was wearing this uniform. I was like, it's all blue, it's good. So yeah, and then it had the blue belt that we could have with it, so that was cool. And then I went to Shaker and attacked everybody on the front lawn,
and then y'all
didn't want to fight. And I was like, well, I guess I'm the king of this, and now who shall I be friends with?
I guess I'm the king of this.
Why did it wasn't really something that anyone really cared about. And no one really, I don't really think of anyone as actually trying. Well, there were probably people who were bullied in Shaker. I'm not going to say that.
There was like, there was real like people, like a lot of people that ended up being with the shits, I had already ingratiated myself with. Like, I've always been like the shortest one in my like group of friends generally. So my first 2 friends at Shaker were these giant basketball players that were like 6'4", when I was probably 5'6".
Oh.
So walking around with them, I met a lot of like the hood niggas, and they weren't the niggas that were on the front lawn, and all you niggas on the front lawn is pussy. So I was like, this is my front lawn. And I just started, like, me and Blair would go around and, like, we attacked Marcus. I choked out Zeke because Zeke was this mountain of a man that thought he could just yell at people. And I had to let him know that I don't care how tall you are, I can jump. Just put him in a headlock and brought him down to my level.
Zeke has, like, 1 foot on me.
Yeah, like a real whole foot on Charles.
No games.
And
like, it's a person I actually have to look up at.
Maybe 50 to 60 pounds heavier of just like girth.
Oh, no,
Okay.
he's way more heavier.
Well, then another
He's like
100. I was trying to be
450
polite.
pounds.
He's about,
Like,
he's
I
about
gotta-
four.
He's a
No,
big nigga.
Zeke about 4 something. He a big nigga.
Like,
And
partly legitimately because that nigga's real tall.
yeah.
So it's just like your average weight would probably be at the very least 300 pounds just because, you know, all of that.
Yeah, he just big. And so he just would go around, and since he thought he was literally like the biggest kid in school.
Yeah.
So since he was so hulking, he just like
Loomed over you.
yeah, and felt like that like was enough to intimidate. I come from a place where we're about that action. I'm not gonna say nothing else but that, because I was gonna say some wild shit. But we about that action, and I'm about to show you. Just come here, bring your big ass over here. Let me let you know something real quick. We're not gonna do that roaring in my face no more. I don't like that. Now that you down in this headlock on my level because you all hunched over and we looking eye to eye, don't do that anymore. Yeah, no, I jumped, wrapped my arm around his neck, and brought him down to my level because I'm not about to be up here looking at you, looking up and talking to you. No.
But the only thing is hilarious because for all intents and purposes, even though Tony had him in that headlock, if he ever actually thought about it, he could have just picked Tony up and just threw him like he was javelin.
He could have tried. That's when the punches were going to start coming. I only had one. That's you not going to go too far. I am immediately violent, Charles.
I understand.
As soon as you move, I'm hitting you in the nose.
At some point, I mean, well,
No, people don't like pain.
I've had a certain degree of martial arts training, so that means I've accepted pain. It's just a part of defending
Most people
yourself.
don't accept pain.
It's like pain is just a part of the entire thing.
No,
if
no.
you want to throw somebody like a javelin, you're probably going to get hit somewhere like that there.
No.
But you know, throwing someone like a javelin is going to have generally adverse effects on the way their body functions.
No, when you throw me, I'm going to get back up and I'm going to be mad now.
Of course you are. You just got thrown like a javelin. I would be very upset too.
Yeah, no, but the Tony that y'all would have got when he was mad after he threw me was the Tony that was going to pick up something and beat this boy to shit. Because I recognize I'm smaller than you. And so now you want to throw me? Bet. I'm going to pick something up that's metal and hard. I'm going to throw it at your head. I hope you can dodge. Like a bike or a peg, whatever I can find.
It's only funnier because you keep on alluding to things that happened in Tokyo Revengers this week.
No, I've thrown a peg at somebody.
And I know you thrown a peg at someone, but
My friend threw my bike and then we fought. No, I've had a very Tokyo Revengers life, Charles. I'm a delinquent. So no, I do identify with that anime quite a bit. But from the opposite side of Takamichi, from Dakin and Mikey, yes. So when I'm watching it, I'm having an amazing time, but I'm not identifying with the main character. No, that's not what's happening for me. Yes, Tony was a delinquent. You can stop talking about that. You got that every time. Why do you want to keep bringing up that I was a delinquent?
I mean, the nigga the dude literally just picked up and threw a bike.
That's what my friend
acted
did.
like it was normal.
My friend got mad at my cousin, picked up my bike that my cousin was riding, and tossed that bitch and bent my rims. I took the pegs off the bike and proceeded to hit him with them. Cause you got me fucked up. Why did you throw? You mad at this nigga? Why did my bike get thrown?
Nah, I'm gonna have
We have to fight now.
You out here using pegs like collie sticks.
Yes, nigga. I'm not playing with you. I've always been this way. So no. But yes, I was a bully. Since that's what y'all wanted me to admit. The bully on the show was Tony. And so what was your... Do y'all think bullying is worse now?
I would just say it's different. Because of online presences and stuff like that, you have this complete and total, like, universal thing where you can always put pressure. But, like, back in the day, I could go home and not have problems. The only problem was at school. So if you change schools, it's no longer a problem. But if you, but with like the internet, these bitches be out here finding you, creating burner accounts, fucking with you some more.
Yeah, that's like extra public shame. That's not confined to a group of
your peers. Like, this is the whole
10,
world shaming
20,
you, really.
like, oh no, 1,000 people could see this.
And it might not even be your whole school.
Or 50, nigga, you get 50 likes
know.
on a comment, you get 50 likes on a roast, nigga. That's 50 people that saw someone telling
roasted.
you, yeah, like.
And half of them could just be them upvoting themselves.
It don't even matter at this point. I just seen 50 people like this.
It's like, why?
I don't know where this came from.
Up,
No,
like,
but you're not even looking that deep. You just, as a kid, you taking that hurt.
But the entire thing is, like, one, this is the reason why you're shouldn't allow your children to be on social media to begin with, because one, they're not supposed to be.
Yeah.
Two, they're not mentally prepared and they don't have the nuance to deal with these things. So
the onslaught of just having that much attention on you is fucking insane. Like I said, I don't know what these kids got to go through as far as bullying, but I know that me getting roasted, and then now it's not just an interaction between me and you. It's between 50 to 100, 1,000 people. Got to be extra detrimental than just like, nah, you know, the people in class laughed at me.
I mean, I would say I was probably more, like, I had a smaller group of friends in 7th and 8th grade than probably anything. But I feel like that's also always the briefest amount of time, and I was completely and totally slotting myself around because we were going. I mean, in Shaker, we kind of already had this period set up, but you still had this primary thing with your home rooms. And 7th and 8th grade, like 7th grade was the year when I gave a kid a concussion because he hit me in the face. And that's when I figured out, one, no one's really about anything for the most part. Because the dude who I gave a concussion was actually significantly smaller than me. It was, for the most part, I snapped because I got hit in the face. Yeah. For some reason, there are certain things that I don't like happening to me. And me being cold cocked in the face, not on that list.
There's been so many fights started that just escalated just because there's something about my face that just make me black out. I don't know what it is. It wasn't really all
that bad. It was literally
anywhere
just
else.
bam,
It's like,
bam,
don't hit me, bow. But my face, it's like an instant.
And then after that fight, I go into the locker room, yada yada yada, and everybody says, "Well, you're not gonna do to me. Then do something about it." No, sit down. And then they left, and it's just like, oh, really? So everyone will always say they're gonna do something, but half the time they're not actually willing to do it.
Yeah, I just couldn't imagine what those kids had to go through if a lot of people saw that shit. And if, like you said, it follows you home.
Yeah, it's like,
I don't know nothing about that plight, man. I don't want to know nothing about that plight. I don't want to know.
It's like, I don't want to know, because what did I watch? I think there was a story there. I was supposed to go out with a friend of mine and go see something called, I think it was 13 or something, about this girl who
Graduation Wood, yeah.
I think it was a Dan Cook thing, or not a Dan Cook. What the heck is it?
She go to school and she like, you know, she had her hair in pigtails. She basically a kid, and then she see all those like in the 2000s where you had like the super low rider. She had like the belly button ring and everything like that. That was 13, right? Or you talking about something different?
It was a movie that was made by a comedian that wasn't really comedic at all.
Not Dan Cook.
No, it wasn't Dan. I forget the dude who does like the musical bits.
He do musical stuff.
There we go.
Okay.
It was a movie about Bo Burnham named something. I don't understand why I'm struggling with this right now. But it was pretty much about that entire situation.
What was about that situation?
Oh, the people dealing with the unilateral presence of social media and kids 8th grade. There we go.
Oh, okay.
Oh, Bo Burnham was in Funny People? Oh, didn't know that. Funny People is a real depressing ass movie.
I don't want to see that movie. I don't know why. I'm just avoiding that movie like the plague. But anyway.
There are a lot of things that Adam Sandler just made that were kind of depressing. Like that movie with
Don Cheadle.
Not Don Cheadle. What is old boy's name?
Seth
Rogen, dude who likes to play Magic, but the dude who played Dick Grayson inside of the.
That's Batman. Funny People, ain't it? Oh yeah. No, I know what you're talking about. I thought it was called Funny People. Fuck, not
he was inside of.
Yeah.
You know who I'm. Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Yep.
There we go. Where he got cancer with Anna Kendrick. That's depressing.
I ain't seen that. I don't want to see Funny People either because I thought it was Funny People. What's the name of that movie? Oh, well, I don't want to see that, and I don't want to see Funny People either because I don't like the title.
I don't know. It's one of those Adam Sandler movies that are just kind of that he does actual real things in, and it hits you randomly.
I love Adam Sandler.
It was like God, the one with the jeweler, that Uncut Gems. It's just like it was a random thing that he did. It's just like why are you capable of doing this? Oh, because I'm actually talented, but I've been phoning it in.
So fucking strange, but that's a different topic. I love Adam Sandler.
I heard Uncut Gems wasn't good.
Who
It's
said
a
that?
crazy story. I
I
enjoyed
don't
it,
remember.
but it ain't got no structure. Like, oh, it's just good.
It's pretty much about a man's frantic ass last day. And he is a singular person who pretty much fucked up his life completely and totally entirely.
Yeah, I think if I had to say for real, like I can see why somebody says it's bad because it don't give you that satisfaction of he learned a lesson and things get better. It was just like another day in some fucking fucko's life. He was
It's
such a
just
jerk.
like he was out here gambling, doing wild things because the entire thing that he was basically doing is because it was a movie that Kevin Garnett was in. He was randomly there.
Yeah, I know it was about his championship ring, right?
Yeah.
But what he ended up doing is he had this gem that Kevin Garnett wanted. So what Kevin Garnett did, he gave him his ring for collateral. His Celtics championship ring as collateral. So Adam Sandler immediately
He pawned
goes,
that shit, didn't he?
pawns it
He pawned this
on
nigga's
the
ring
street.
to gamble.
Doesn't even get fair value. And then he immediately tries to gamble and double
And
up the
get the
money and
money.
then go get it out of pawn.
Bruh, it's just, but that movie production company is known for doing shit like that. They not following normal movie guidelines where you getting a payoff at the end of the movie. You're not getting that with that production, A24. You're not getting that with that production company.
And he was just running all over the place and frantic, and like his life was literally a clusterfuck. So that means the movie felt like it was like a
fucking heart attack. Because
It's
he
just
would do
like-
good and then fuck up. It was just this weird. I can
up
see
and
why.
down,
Like, oh, this
spastic,
is not.
like
That
and
shit
then
is wild.
And then it ends on this ultimate low, and it's just like, so that's really it. There's gonna be like, the funny thing is, it never actually. You don't get resolution on the gambling thing.
Nah. So it don't follow your typical storyline. So hey, that's gonna throw people off.
It's like there's no lesson, there's no nothing.
It's nothing. This nigga
I don't
is
even think
just
he
fucked
makes
up.
it till after all the things that he gambled on are finished.
No, he win, but they get out the thing and they shoot him. So he don't even get to see the fruits of his labor. His girlfriend just walked away with his money, and that was it. So no, you don't get your traditional
no
payoff at that movie.
happy, touchy-feely
No,
thing.
there's no traditional happy ending.
But
Or the bad guy lose. I don't know if he was considered an anti-hero either.
and if you, it's like watching BoJack Horseman. If you have any type of anxiety or anything like that, it is definitely not a movie for you because it is a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot. That's definitely. I can see why somebody would say it's overhyped a tad bit, but also.
But it
I
also
own the
came out
movie.
inside the pandemic, if I remember correctly, towards the beginning of it.
Something like that. I remember buying it. I have it on DVD.
Because
I
it's
really
one of
wanted
those
to see it.
things where I think it hit Netflix during the pandemic. And a lot of things during the pandemic, due to the scarcity of entertainment, have also been like lifted up quite a bit.
Yeah.
Like if you
Anyway.
wanted to release some random content to be consumed, pandemic was time. Look, it seems like, that's the other thing I meant to tell you. There might be some bad news for you later on in the year, but we'll see what happens.
No, you're not about to say nothing about anything. Nope, I don't want to hear it. 'Cause I already know what it's coming from. Nope. Shh.
But anything else for you, Tony?
No.
Okay.
I think we're sitting at 2 hours.
Stay woke.
this nigga.
Niggas creeping.
You gotta play old people music at the party.
Nope.
Yeah, you do.
I refuse.
Be respectful. Respect your elders.
I do respect my elders with new music, and I trick them into believing it's theirs.
I'm gonna play what they want to hear.
They don't know what they want to hear. Nope. Oh, that's the fundamental belief of every single DJ. Everyone else out on the floor, y'all don't know what y'all want.
Y'all are wrong.
Go sit yourself down. Dudes only want to hear music that they can get twerked to. Women don't. It's absolutely true. As long as most dudes are getting twerked, they don't care.
I do.
Take this random t-shirt stain on your white tee. Go.
I
Just
care. I care.
But you also don't like people touching you.
I mean, I like some twerk, but I also care about what's playing. Let me pick. You're doing it wrong. Who
Depending
picked
on
you?
the owner.
He doesn't know anything about music, so clearly
Most
him
owners don't.
picking you.
Those owners
Isn't
don't.
really,
But they out here getting turned. So, and also, I hate to tell people this, it is actually downbeats are actually on purpose because the club owners want you to drink. They don't want you to sit. Dancing is secondary to you drinking.
I know.
So if I have you always dancing, it's a bad thing. So, but as again, stay woke.
No, always dance.
Niggas creeping.
Always dance.
Do, do, do.
Always.